The courtroom was silent, so quiet you could hear someone breathing across the room. Everyone stared at the small boy standing in the witness box. His name was Ethan. He was only 7, and his hands shook as he held the wooden rail. The judge leaned forward and asked gently, "Do you know why you're here today, Ethan?" He nodded slowly, then raised his hand and pointed. "It's him," Ethan whispered, looking straight at Officer Carter. "He's the one who hurt my mom." Gasps filled the room. The officer's face turned stiff. No one was ready for what this child had just said. Everyone in the courtroom was frozen. They weren't just shocked because a little boy pointed at a cop. This was bigger. Ethan's words didn't just name someone. They opened a door to a secret no one saw coming. Officer Carter, the man Ethan accused, wasn't just a cop. He was part of something much darker. People in that room started wondering what really happened. Why did Carter look so nervous? Why did his eyes show fear? Ethan wasn't supposed to be here. But now, he was the key to a truth that could tear the town apart, and everyone knew it. Ethan wasn't just a regular kid anymore. He used to love building cardboard forts and playing with his dog. But that all changed the night his mom didn't come home. He waited by the window for hours, hoping to see her car. Instead, a police car pulled up, and Officer Carter stepped out. He wasn't smiling like usual. "Your mom's been in an accident," he said. But Ethan noticed something strange. Carter's hands were shaking, and his uniform had blood on it. Ethan remembered what his mom had told him days before. "If anything happens to me, don't trust anyone." A week after his mom's death, Ethan's teacher noticed something strange. While other kids were drawing happy things like superheroes and rainbows, Ethan's drawings were different. He drew a man in a police uniform, a woman on the ground, and a car with bright, angry headlights. When the teacher asked him about it, Ethan burst into tears. "That's Officer Carter," he said. "He hurt my mom." The teacher reported it, and suddenly, Ethan was thrown into a world of detectives, lawyers, and questions. Most people didn't believe him, but his grandma did, and she was ready to fight for the truth. The police said Ethan was just a sad, confused kid making things up. But his grandma wasn't so sure. She hired a tough lawyer who believed Ethan and wasn't afraid to dig deep. The trial began, and it felt like something out of a movie, full of tension and shock. The people in court were split. Some thought Ethan was imagining things. Others started to wonder if he might be right. The lawyer believed this wasn't just a child's story. It was a clue to a dark secret. A secret that might take down Officer Carter and change everything forever. Each day, Ethan's words became more powerful. He told the court everything he remembered from the night his mom disappeared. He talked about the flashing lights, Officer Carter's shaky hands, and how nothing felt right. But the lawyer knew words alone wouldn't be enough. They needed proof. That's when Ethan said something that made everyone sit up. "I have something," he said, pulling a small paper from his pocket. It was a gas station receipt from the night his mom vanished. On the back, there was a license plate number, Officer Carter's car. The whole room froze. This was real. The courtroom buzzed with shock. Ethan had just shown proof, an actual receipt that tied Officer Carter to the night his mom died. But even with this evidence, the police department was determined to shut it down. They tried to discredit Ethan, saying he was just a scared boy. Ethan's grandmother started to fear for their safety. Things were getting dangerous. But the lawyer wasn't giving up. The case wasn't just about a receipt anymore. It was about uncovering a hidden truth, no matter how hard the authorities tried to bury it. Officer Carter's secret was on the brink of being exposed. Then, in a shocking twist, Officer Carter took the stand. He stared straight at Ethan, his face cold. "I didn't hurt your mom," he said calmly. "I tried to save her, but sometimes bad things happen." For a moment, even Ethan seemed to question himself. Could he have made a mistake? But then he remembered his mom's warning. "Don't trust anyone," she had said. Ethan knew he had to keep telling the truth. He couldn't back down now. The courtroom held its breath as Officer Carter's lies began to crack under the weight of Ethan's bravery and the growing evidence. The last day of the trial was full of tension. The defense lawyer presented shocking new evidence, a security video from the gas station. It showed Officer Carter arguing with Ethan's mom just hours before her death. The receipt Ethan had kept wasn't just a clue, it was the key to the whole mystery. As Ethan took the stand for the final time, his hands no longer shook. He looked right at Officer Carter and said, "You hurt my mom, and I'm not scared of you anymore." The courtroom was silent, everyone holding their breath, waiting for the truth to finally come out. The defense lawyer pressed harder. "So, you killed Sarah Mitchell to protect your secret?" Officer Carter's face twisted with anger and fear. He finally broke down and confessed. "She found out about the money, the drug money I was hiding. She was going to expose me. I couldn't let that happen." The room went silent as everyone processed his words. "It was an accident," Officer Carter said, his voice shaking. "I didn't mean to hurt her. It just happened." Ethan stared at him, unblinking. "You're lying," he said, his voice steady. "You hurt her on purpose, and you tried to cover it up." After hours of deliberation, the jury finally returned with a verdict. The room was so quiet you could hear the clock ticking. The foreman stood up and said, "We, the jury, find Officer Carter guilty of obstruction of justice and manslaughter in the death of Sarah Mitchell." The courtroom was filled with gasps. Officer Carter's face went pale as he gripped the table, trying to stay upright. Ethan sat silently, his grandmother holding him close. The judge spoke, "Officer Carter, your badge once stood for trust. Now it's a symbol of betrayal." He was sentenced to 15 years in prison. As the gavel came down, Ethan felt a strange mix of emotions. Justice had been served, but it didn't bring his mom back. He felt relief, but also a deep sadness. The weight of everything still pressed on his heart. His grandmother hugged him tight. As they walked out of the courtroom, Ethan kept his head high. He'd done what his mom asked him to do. She had always said, "If something happens to me, you need to stand strong." In that moment, Ethan knew she'd be proud of him. Justice had finally been done. Officer Carter's voice trembled as he faced Ethan. The whole room was watching, waiting for him to speak. "I didn't want this," Carter began, his voice barely above a whisper. "I tried to stop her from finding out, but she wouldn't back down. She was going to expose me." His eyes flickered nervously toward Ethan. "I never meant to hurt her. It just happened. I panicked." Ethan stared at him, his heart pounding. "You didn't panic," he said calmly. "You killed her." The room fell completely silent, everyone holding their breath as the truth came pouring out. The jury's deliberation felt like forever. Ethan couldn't stop thinking about his mom. The evidence, the confession, it all pointed to one truth. The room was silent when the jury finally returned. The foreman stood up, voice firm. "We, the jury, find Officer Carter guilty of manslaughter and obstruction of justice in the death of Sarah Mitchell." A gasp echoed through the courtroom. Carter's face went white as he stared down at the floor. Ethan didn't look away, his eyes steady. This was justice. His mom had been hurt, but now, finally, her killer would pay for what he'd done.